we are rolling. Three, two, one, action. Hey, hello, hey. Don't hate me, okay? Don't hate me. I know a lot has happened, okay? It feels like a generational fumble. Trust me, it's not. Well, it may just be my kismet, but let me explain. So much has happened. I know I disappeared, but let's run that intro before we even do any housekeeping, even talk about anything that's happened. I know. I'm sorry. Run that intro. I'm back. Happy New Year! Happy New Year! 'Tis January. 'Tis actually the end of January. Why? Because I failed to upload anything throughout the month because I almost died. Yeah, I almost died. I almost died. So much has happened. I don't even know where to start. Let's start before New Year's. 2 days before New Year's, I was like, I'm gonna study for my exams. What happens? I literally get towards the edge of my deathbed. Death was calling my name. Thankfully, alhamdulillah, I'm still here, I'm still alive. But I was so close to like literally disappearing for like I was going. Something happened where I got some illness or some concoction from a coffee shop that I went to that morning, and the one day I tried to be productive, tell me about it, and I literally drank the coffee and then I was studying like my throat like and my eyes were swollen and it came to the point where I couldn't swallow my spit because it hurt so much. My throat was that much gone. I was literally talking with a lisp, like it was so bad. Like I was like hot fevers, hot shivers, everything. It was crazy. It was so strange. So that's how my New Year started. I was literally like literally here on this deathbed, on this on this bed, literally while this fire was going on in the background. Like the juxtaposition was honestly poetic. Yeah. So I almost died, and then I butchered my freaking eyebrows, and then I cut myself bangs that are too short, and I'm waiting for them to grow out so I can actually show them off. Dyed my hair red, got some piercings, got a new microphone. Got a new microphone. Actually, I got a new mic and it came with this setup, but the mic actually won't connect and won't work. So I'm using my old mic and I'm just using the actual setup. I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I've always wanted a mic, so it feels professional. It feels like, we're actually on set to do something, or, something's about to happen. What else happened? Did my exams, absolutely failed my exams. Oh, I had accounting and it was so bad. It was so bad. That's why I was busy during January and I only uploaded one video because I literally had my exams that I had to study for. I was also trying to study for my theory test, which I failed by 1 mark. I don't even want to talk about it, but the mean Indian lady was so mean to me. She was so mean to me. I don't know what it is about Indian ladies, old Indian ladies, like boomers. They're so mean. They're so passive aggressive. They're just so like scary, like for no reason. Like you don't have to be that scary. You don't have to be that mean. Every Indian woman I've ever met in my whole entire life has been so mean to me for no reason. And I just feel like they need to take a chill pill and calm down and drink some chai tea. You know what I mean? Like it's never that serious for you to be so angry all the time. And like when she gave me the results, because basically I turned my phone on as soon as I like was outside in the waiting room when I finished the exam, and I turned my phone on. She's like, "No phones, turn off your phone, put it away." And I was like, "Okay, put it away." And then she like gave me this nasty look before she looked at the paper and she looked at me and she like kind of did like a pause and she was like, "Here you go." And then she gave me the results and I knew then instantly. I went, "It's okay, it's okay. I failed. It's okay, and it's okay. I did fail because I failed by 1 mark." Um, but it's okay. I'll just book it again. New Year starting off with disasters and failures. Also, what's new? My ankle hurts again. I feel like this when you sprain the ankle once, it will forever always be sprained. I don't know I don't know how to make it better. I literally booked an appointment and I had, oh my god, I had these student doctors and they were like, it's a shared clinic, are you sure you want to go in? And I was like, yeah, probably nobody with like a serious condition is going in, or old people are probably not going in because they're too embarrassed or whatever. And I was like, mine's only an ankle checkup, let me just go in, like get them, get them some 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 fun, you know what I mean? Because imagine going to the GP to do your like routine thing, work experience, and like nobody showing up because they know it's a shared clinic. I was like, oh, why not? They were so sweet. I wished them all the success. They were so helpful. They gave me these strong ass antibiotics to take for my foot for like inflammatory relief, because they were like, it's still a bit swollen and it's working its way up because you started walking again a lot. I started doing fencing. Oh my god, guys, I started fencing. Did one lesson because my foot started hurting the next day. So that's why I had to book a doctor's appointment. So I'm gonna wait for the pain meds to kick in and then let it rest and then I'll go back to fencing lessons. But it was really fun. Um I feel like I'm talking really fast. I'm so sorry. I just really want to get housekeeping out of the way because I feel like there's so much that I missed out on, and I'm so sorry that I disappeared for so long. Oh, hashtag new room setup. Do we like the new room setup? I will give you guys a full room tour the next time I film a vlog because a lot has changed. I did a whole deep review, deep clean, like to make it more aesthetic, to make it more pleasing, to make it more nice because I was sick and tired of you guys seeing the same ugly, no decorations, depressing thing. And I really wanted my room to be light and airy for the new year because I feel like every time I get depressed, basically what happens is I put posters on my wall that I love, I make it cutesy and aesthetic, and then when I get depressed and I want it myself, I take it all down. Which is really sad if you think about it, but I take it all down and I just like literally put everything away and I just don't want to see any color, any nothing. So I went for blue and like light blue and white and pink, a little bit of pink and a little bit of brown because my curtains had to be brown because if they were any lighter the light would come in too much, but I'm forcing myself to see the light every morning, not in that way, but I'm forcing myself to see the light because i I just need to see light. Like being depressed and then making myself willingly choose to sit in the dark is kind of, it's kind of scary. So I want it to be light, airy and fluffy. But yeah, new room makeover. What else happened? That's pretty much it. But I did have exams and I was studying for that, so I couldn't really record. But now that we're here and we're on the topic, I am going to be filming and uploading an episode of this podcast every day for the next week. So maybe for the next 5 days or the next week, I guess, slash 5 days. I don't know. Because I feel like I've been procrastinating so hard and being lazy so insanely hard, and it's so bad. It's so insanely bad mentally, physically, emotionally. I didn't start my day until like 5 p.m. I didn't pick up the camera to film one of the other videos that I'm filming for. Hint, hint. Um, until 6 p.m. and I still haven't finished that video. Well, the section of it that I should finish today, which I'm going to do after I film this. But yeah, I'm going to be uploading an episode every day because I want to be consistent and I want to grow this channel, and I actually want to make an effort and prove to myself that I can do it if I wanted to. And I want to hit 1K subscribers too because why not? We're so close and we're so far. I mean, we're so close yet we're so far, but I want to hit 1K subscribers. And yeah, I just want to post every day because I feel like I've been slacking off and being lazy. So I don't know if I'm going to film at nighttime or morning, but every day there will be an episode for the next, hopefully 7 days, but probably 5 days. Let's be honest. Because sometimes, oh my god, I feel like I'm choking on my spit. Hold on. Sometimes I feel like I will run out of things to say, and then I find topics that I've written down when I was thinking of doing this podcast, and I'm like, bitch, you have so much to say. I don't think you'd ever shut up. You should run for Congress. Like, you could literally talk forever. But yeah, now we're here. It is January 22nd. Ramadan is a few days away, and I basically missed the whole of January to do any sort of filming that I wanted to do because I was studying for exams and also I was dying. Give me a break, guys. I was literally on my deathbed. I was ill. I was so ill. I couldn't even open my eyes. I couldn't even swallow my spit. But anyways, we're here. Housekeeping done. I think I told you everything that I needed to tell you. Let's get into today's episode. Obviously, you can see by the title of the episode what we're going to talk about, and we're really going to deep dive into it. I don't know where this is going to go because I don't necessarily have any notes on what I want to say, but we're gonna speed run through it. No, we're not gonna speed run through it, but we're gonna deep dive it. Basically, I don't think I filmed during this time period, but a month ago, or maybe a couple of months ago, I would say early December, maybe. Yeah, early December, maybe mid November, something like that. I can't remember. Memory loss, depression, makes you memory loss. Anyways, basically, maybe a couple of weeks ago, we'll just say that a couple of weeks ago, something happened to me that I thought I would never let it happen to me ever again, never let myself go through that again. And it was so interesting not to talk about it. It was also so emotionally impacting to me that I was like, I have to talk about this on the podcast and make a whole episode about it because I think it's really important that people talk about this. And I've always wanted to talk about this actually. So a couple of weeks ago, I was going to hang out with this friend. I love this friend, still friends with her, obviously, even though we haven't talked in quite a while. But we met the first time I went to uni. And you guys know my story. If you guys have been here for a long time, you guys know my uni whole educational story, background, whatever. And we don't get to hang out a lot because we're so long distance. So we meet like every other month, or maybe literally once every season. Why do I feel like I'm choking on my spit? In fact, we rarely ever meet because we're so long distance and we're so busy with our lives. Well, she's busy. I'm not doing anything with my life. But recently I have been busy, right? Because I started uni. I had my Christmas temp job. That was amazing. It was not. It was. I wanted to kill myself. I don't know why I use that adjective. That was a lie. But yeah, I had work and she had work as well. She got into full time and stuff like that. Still love her, no hate her. I'm not bashing her in any way. This is just my side of the story, right? And something happened to me that actually like revealed the inner PTSD in me. I think Fifi's trying to get in. Hold on, guys. I'm over it now, but it really did make me cry because I ended up crying in the Costa toilet. What happened was we decided to meet up because she was like, I'm in town like for a couple of days, like literally 3 days. I am gonna meet up with you, meet up with my boyfriend, meet up with my old co-workers, meet up with my friend. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now there were a bunch of red flags in the conversation that we were having leading up to us meeting up. And bearing in mind, we don't see each other a lot. So when we do, I really do take it into heart. And I know that I give off nonchalant vibes to my friends, the few friends that I have. I know that I can give off nonchalant vibes. I think I do that purposely because it stems from trauma. I think I give off nonchalant vibes in terms of not nonchalant because I'm the most chalant person you'll ever meet. My resting place in my heart is yearning. Like yearning is the resting place, and then everything else is above that. Like that's how nonchalant I am. What was I saying? I tend to give off energies with friends, people that I become friends with. That, oh yeah, I don't care, do that. I don't care, post that. I don't care. Like, yeah, we can do that. We can talk about that. We can do this. You can do this. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Because usually I don't care, and genuinely I don't care. Like I want to be open minded friend. Are you open minded? I want to be like an open minded person. I want to make people feel comfortable around me because I know what it's like not to have that. So I'm definitely somebody who's like a casual go to, like, we can do anything you want to do, go with the flow type of vibe. And I'm okay with that, and everybody else seems to be okay with that, right? Because it means that I'm quite reassuring that I'll be up to change of plans. Because I don't mind if plans change, it doesn't affect me that much, obviously. We planned to meet at a certain day, and I was like, oh, I can't meet this day, this day, this day because I'm working and it's my shift, and obviously I can't like change my shift because it's already settled, and I don't want to like tell my manager and stuff I can't change it. She was like, oh, okay. First, one of the first red flags she said was like, oh, okay, never mind, then I won't meet up with you, I'll meet up with my other friends, or I'll meet up with my other co-workers or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just go kill myself. Like I made that joke, but inside my head I was like, okay, that's a bit of a red flag. My head was like, alert, 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 like that's a bit icky. Anyways, that happens, and then she's like, no, no, I didn't mean that as a joke. Anyways, we meet up, and a bunch of red flags start unfolding. Red flags that I have previously gone through with my previous friendships. What ended up happening is that as I was getting ready and as I was texting her, as I had her gift in my hand, and I was wearing my cute outfit, and I did my makeup all nice, and I put the effort in to take time out of my day and my schedule to meet up with this person ended up not valuing my time and kind of pushing my feelings aside and kind of pushing me aside as if I'm irrelevant, and made me feel irrelevant. It wasn't the fact that they did it or not. They could argue that they didn't do it, but they made me feel that way, right? And I promised myself that I would never let myself feel like this ever again with anybody, but I ended up doing it anyways. So she's texting me like, oh yeah, I need to catch 2 trains, and by the way, I'm not gonna eat because I'm hanging out with my boyfriend after, and by the way, I can't hang out at this time on this day because I'm meeting with my boyfriend, and I can't delay it because I will be taking the train on the next day, and da 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 da. And I want to meet my old co-workers, and I also want to hang out with my other friend. So she ended up spending time with her other friend for about 4 hours, which means that she was already late, and she was going to catch the late train already. So she would voice message me like literally as I'm in town and I've gotten off the bus, and she's like, oh yeah, by the way, like I can either catch this bus or that bus, and I'm like, okay, you can catch the later bus if you want to, if you think you're not going to make it to that, or train, I mean train, if you're not going to make it to that train, as long as you make it, right? Because it shows me that you care and you're putting the intention in to come see me. But she just kept brushing me aside. She had this specific like um timetable, like time frame for she scheduled in everybody, and everybody else seemed to have much more of a thicker gap and much more of a bigger priority than me. And I'd like to think that I am worth and valuable enough to have 60 more than 60 minutes of somebody's time, because she ended up saying like these things like, oh, I can only meet you for 60 minutes, then I have to go meet my boyfriend. So she couldn't switch the like she couldn't push over the time with her boyfriend, but she could push me around because she we rescheduled the times like a couple of times. I was like, yeah, you can take the later train if you need to. And then she was like, oh yeah, I missed that train. I'm gonna take the bus now, which means I'm gonna be an hour late, which means we can only hang out for about half an hour. And I was like, what the frick? By the time the food comes at the restaurant I chose for you to come and eat, I wanted to introduce to her Momos. By the time the food comes, it's gonna be 30 minutes. What are you talking about? You're gonna just leave me there sitting with the food? And then she was like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm not gonna eat. And I was like, what do you mean you're not going to eat? I'm introducing you to a restaurant, to a new food, and you're telling me you're not going to eat the food? And then she was like, yeah, yeah, I need to meet my boyfriend after. I'm meeting with this other girl for 4 hours. And then I'm meeting with my old co-workers. So she could schedule in and make sure everybody else was a big priority. But it was me that couldn't be like a bigger priority. So she kind of like brushed me aside and kind of brushed my time aside. And I was like this little slot. It felt like I was just a slot in a minute, like I was in a meeting. Like I was meeting with like my boss or something for a meeting. And I was like, what the frick is going on? And then I was like, just leave it. Like I messaged her and I was like, just leave it. And then I aired her for the rest of the night because I was like, what the frick is this? And I ended up crying in the Costa toilets because I was so upset that I had become second priority, second to no priority in somebody's life again. Like I let myself feel like that in a friendship again. You know, it wasn't the fact that she did it, it's the fact that it's the fact that I felt like that again. And I was so heartbroken that this happened to me again. I was so confused and discombobulated and just genuinely so upset. And you know what it was is I saw it coming a mile away, 1,000%, 1,000 bajillion miles away, and still I continued getting on that bus and I continued getting out of my house and I continued walking towards the restaurant and sitting in there and waiting for her with her gift. Like I just felt like such an idiot. And I haven't felt like that in a friendship in a long time. And I never want that to happen again. And the fact that I let it happen again because I trusted her and I had good intentions towards her. Now, obviously, I confronted her and I told her all of these feelings because, you know, growth, and I'm learning confrontation just as much as other people are learning everything else. And I told her how it made me feel and whether or not she made me like purposely made me feel like that or not, she still made me feel like that. And I felt like I was not a priority. And you know, I felt kind of hurt because I was like this thing that she's pushing around, or you can fit in here and you can fit in here and you can do this and I'll move you around. But everybody else had to be in that stiff position. And it was kind of irking me that she was like, afterwards she knew that I was airing her and she was like, oh, but we can meet on like I can meet you on Saturday morning when she's supposed to be taking the train. I can meet you on Saturday morning after you finish your work or after you finish your shift. I'll stay in town and on the day that she's supposed to leave, and we can meet up then to hang out and do whatever you want. And I was like, okay, so I don't want your pity. I don't want your pity hangouts. I don't want your pity thing because you feel bad for me. If you can stay and miss your train and delay it for another day after you've made me feel bad, you could have also made your time bigger and your gap schedule bigger. I get it, you're busy and you have a lot of people to meet and everybody loves you, and I love that for you. And you also have a boyfriend, that's amazing. But to be above a boyfriend in terms of a friend that you've known longer kind of hurt. And that isn't the first time people have done that to me, and it really frustrates me when women get boyfriends. They tend to change and evolve into these people that are like so submissive under them. Like, my boyfriend said we had to meet at 8 p.m., so I don't want to make him wait, and I don't want him to like, I don't want to change the time. Like, we can't change the time, 8 p.m., 8 p.m., like, so we have to meet at 8 p.m., so we can't hang out. And it's like, oh, but for you, like, oh, I missed the bus and I missed the train, and it's okay, like, we can hang out another time. And it's not like I don't have shit to do. Like, I don't have a busy schedule. Like, I don't have stuff going on. Like, huh? Like, why is your boyfriend such a high priority, but everybody else is not? So I confronted her, obviously because hashtag growth. And back in the day, if this happened before like 2020 energy, like when I was in high school, I would have never confronted anybody. I would have just sat there and sulked. But obviously, I'm trying to learn to confrontation is one of my biggest and weakest skill set. Like, my biggest like red flags is I can't confront, and it's so bad. Maybe I shouldn't admit that on camera, but it's so bad. But I am learning. So I texted her and I was like, sorry, I ignored you for like the whole day, but and then I explained to her everything and I read her like this long ass paragraph and I was like, this is how you made me feel and this is what you did and da, 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 da. And I bullet pointed and I picked out everything that the way that she made me feel. And we made up in the end. Obviously, no hate to her, still love, all respect. Obviously, we're still friends. Like, it's not the end of the world, you know what I mean? Like, normal relationships have arguments, have, you know, disagreements. That's normal. but the way that she made me feel like a to no priority, and it just like unlocked PTSD and trauma inside of me, because I have previously felt like that in so many of my relationships and friendships. And honestly, I felt like that my whole life, to feel second priority to everybody and to feel like you're not a priority to anybody in any of your friendships actually sucks ass. And so that's what I wanted to talk about, being second to no priority and then learning how to become first priority into your own life. Let's talk about the first part first, being second priority. This isn't the first time that I felt like this. Like I've said before, I felt like this many times in my lifetime. When I was in high school, I was friends with a group of people that I also felt like I was not a priority to. I was in a triangle. What's it called? A friendship of three. It doesn't that have a name to it? Not a threesome. That's not right. That's not. That's not right. It wasn't a threesome, but there were three of us in this marriage. Well, there were basically, and I felt like Diana. I did hate to be main character syndrome, but I felt like Diana. Okay, there were many instances where I just felt like I was losing priority in these people's lives that I am supposed to call my friends. And in high school, this tends to happen a lot when you tend to outgrow people. Now, outgrowing friendships, I will make probably a whole nother episode if anybody's down to listen to that. But before I knew I was outgrowing them, I knew that I wasn't a big enough priority in these people's lives. I was always somebody that they could come to, they could rant to, and they could talk to. But when it was my turn, it was never reciprocated. And also, it also felt like I was just never given the same energy back. And do you know what it was? Is I blamed myself for a very long time because I was always the boring friend. I was always the boring person, the person. I've never been on holidays. I don't have any family drama or any tea. I don't have any other friends apart from the friends that I had in high school, which were like four friends. And they were the main group of friends and they were the side friends. Like, you know how you have the main group and then you also have side friends, like your friends have friends and blah blah blah. They were just my friends. Like, I didn't have any other friends back then. They were literally it. So I was boring in all aspects, and this carried on into uni too. And that's why I never knew how to make friends, because it was I always viewed myself as a very boring person because I had no experience to add. I had nothing to say. I didn't go on holidays. I didn't have family drama. Nothing funny happened at home. Nothing would ever happen at home. I didn't ever go anywhere. We didn't go out on the weekend. We didn't do anything. So I would have nothing to talk about. So I was always the boring friend. So that meant in relationships it was unbalanced because I was always the one that was listening. I was always the one that was listening and never talking. And so people that would come into my life would use me as a sponge to soak up all of their drama, all of their problems, all of their issues and stuff. I would give them advice or I would listen, and then they would walk away when it was my turn to open up if I ever did have anything to say. In high school, I felt like that a lot. In my previous friendships, there were also red flags where I had friends who or I had people, there were many instances or scenarios that happened where like I would ask them to do something and they would turn around and be like, no, I'm busy, and then go and do it with another friend, the exact same thing that I asked for. And then that made me feel like, oh, what is it about me that is so wrong that people do not want to hang out with me? What is it about me that I am just unworthy of people's love and attention and affection? And it really scars you. It scars you deeply because it carries on into your life, into adulthood. And not only that, but becomes it also affects you internally. So say you are second priority or no priority to everybody else in your life, you are last of everybody's worries or priorities. Yeah, you end up internalizing that and you become your own last priority. And that's what happened to me. That whole thing that happened the other weeks ago with that friend, I ended up going Costa and crying, right? Like I said, I ended up crying in the toilet because I was like, I can't believe this happened to me again. And genuinely, I haven't felt that heartbroken and sad in a long minute. Like, I genuinely felt so sad. Because uh, I've always felt like I'm not worthy enough of people's attention or worthy enough to have a relationship with people because I'm boring and I don't have any stories to tell, or nothing ever happens in my life that's interesting enough. Or maybe it's the fact that I'm ugly. Like, one of my old friends, she ended up replacing me with another girl who was literally like the better version of me, like much more petite, much more beautiful, much more skinny, much more literally petite, beautiful, brown skin, beautiful, like and like one of those like really cool, nonchalant girls, and they had the same energy and the same vibe, and they ended up matching, and I got replaced in that way, and I felt replaced, right? And it hurts. There's nothing more to add to that. There's nothing poetic to say to that except for the fact that it hurts. You know, when you're at home and you're not anybody's priority, and then you go out and you make friends and you're also not their priority, it kind of freaking sucks. You know, it freaking sucks. It happened to me my whole life, and genuinely, that's why I thought when my last friendships ended. And I took a break from uni and I dropped out and everything. I told myself I would never let myself feel like that again. And the fact that I let myself be in that position again, to feel that way again, sucks. And I was like, damn, why am I so freaking stupid in the freaking head that I let myself go through that again? I feel like I'm going in circles, but give me a second. Okay, listen, this is how I knew I needed to change and become a priority in my life. And, all that cringy stuff was one time my mum picked me up from uni after I was hanging out with my friend, and she saw my friend walking away, and she was like, "Oh, you're always with her friend, you're always following her behind like a little puppy." She said in Urdu, like, "You're always behind her, pichi pichi, like you're always behind her like a little puppy." And that, for some weird reason, irked me so much. It irked me so much, because in that friendship I also felt like I was only there to make the other person feel beautiful, to make the other person feel smarter than me, to make the other person feel better about themselves. And then the moment you clock that and you start to change that and you start to live for yourself and better yourself and be your own person, it kind of like they get offended by it and they get hurt by it. And that happens in so many toxic relationships, where you finally speak up for yourself, or you finally stand up for yourself, and you finally say no, or you decide, I'm going to change now. And the person that's used to the same abusive cycle, who's the manipulator or the abuser, they're like, what? Like, no, 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 now you're the bad guy. Now you're doing it wrong. Like, you can't do that. Like, that's not okay. Like, why are you acting like that? Why are you being mean? Why are you being rude? Like, you're actually so rude and evil and horrible. I'm going to hate you forever, and I'm the victim. And it's like, no, 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 no. I'm just standing up for myself, and I'm just, you know, becoming my own person and choosing myself first. That's when my mom said that, something inside of it irked me so bad. And I remember with that same friend, that when I came home one time after hanging out with her, I can't remember what happened, but I came home crying. I came home crying so desperately, because like tears in my eyes, I couldn't control myself, and I looked right in that mirror, and I came home and I took my bag off, and I was like, oh my god, is there like idiot written on my forehead? Like, is there stupid written on my forehead with a post-it note? Did I slap it on my head? That everybody perceives me as like a stupid idiot, that everybody perceives me as this like ugly, stupid, horrible, dumb person, And I thought one of the many reasons why I thought for a long time that I couldn't make friends, or I couldn't have friends, was because I was very like introverted or very like shy. But I don't think that's fair. I don't think that there should be a world existing where introverts and shy people shouldn't be like shouldn't I don't think introverts and shy people should be expelled from experiencing human interactions and human emotions just because of the way that their nervous system works. I don't think that the world should be made solely for extroverts. I don't think that's fair, because I don't think everybody can control the fact that they're introverted. Extroverts can choose to be introverted if they wanted to. I think it's much harder for introverts to be extroverted. Um, because I am an introvert and I have tried being an extrovert, and it is devastatingly hard. Very, very, very hard. And I thought there was okay, so I feel like I'm talking so fast, so sorry. And also, this episode is not going to make sense because I'm just rambling. But basically, yeah, I felt like a second priority in every single friendship I've ever had. I felt like a last priority, and I thought for a long time that was my fault. I thought it was because, number one, I'm ugly. Number two, I'm boring. Number three, I have nothing to my name. I have no experiences. I don't go anywhere. I was very sheltered my whole life as well. And number four, five, or 6,000, I was very introverted and shy, and I think that puts people off, especially when you're in university. If you're very introverted and shy, people for some reason hate introverted people. Like, they will all go online and try to be hashtag relatable in their TikToks and talk about, I'm depressed and I'm shy and I'm introverted. Before TikTok, being an introvert was embarrassing, and being an introvert was weird, and it was ugly, and you were a freak, and you were stupid, and you were just like an outcast. Then suddenly there was a switch in the matrix, there was a glitch in the matrix, and now being introvert is hashtag relatable. Like, I'm introverted and I love sitting in bed at home all day. Hashtag introverted, hashtag shy, hashtag depressed. And it's just like, no, because you never went through those phases of being an actual introvert where it genuinely sucks the soul out of you because it's draining. I thought for a long time that these were the reasons that people didn't want to be friends with me, and the friends that I had didn't want to be friends with me, and that there was something so wrong with me and so unlovable about me, and so just there was some, like, I felt like an elephant in every room. I felt like a weird elephant, a big fat elephant in every single room that I walked into, and I felt like my friends could feel that too. And for that reason they just took me in, and just like, I was always the submissive one in the relationship. I was always not like that, but I was always the submissive one in the relationship. I was always the one that was just like, drag her along, take her along. She's my emotional support animal. She's my, comfort animal. She makes me feel better. She makes me feel comfortable. But it's like, whoa, do I feel comfortable? Do you make me feel better? Do I feel okay doing this? Like, is this okay for me to do this? Like, am I happy? Am I okay in this relationship, in this friendship? Do I feel seen? Do I feel heard? Do I feel appreciated? No, I couldn't feel comfortable enough talking to certain people that I had in my life. I don't feel comfortable enough telling them my traumas or my deep fears. Not most people, in fact, every 100% of people that are in my life right now only know me at a surface level. They only know me at a surface level, and they probably always will, because I do not know how to open up to people, and I do not know how to unlock that people. And the only other time I've done that is that they've walked away. So I've chosen not to do that anymore. And I've tried so many things. I've tried to be so many different types of people because I thought that if I changed myself, I would become a bigger priority in people's lives. That did not work. I did not become a bigger priority in people's lives. Some people, the thing is, yeah, I've always been the friend that they're my best friend, but they will have another best friend. Or like, I'm, they're my they're important to me, they're number one to me, but I'm not number one to them. They will have another person that means more to them. Everybody I've ever known will have somebody else that means more important to them, that is more important to them, that means much more to them, that they will run to first before they run to me. And I felt like that my whole life. And then when it came to friendships and it came to relationships, it it portrayed very well. I feel like when I walk into a room, when I walk into the lecture hall, people are looking at me like, what the frick? Look at that weirdo, look at that girl. Like, they know that I'm an introvert, they know that I'm a freak, they know that I'm shy, they know that I stutter, they know that I am anxious right now and I'm scared and I feel all these eyes on me, even if nobody's looking at me. You know what I mean? There could be a guy that falls down the stairs and everybody's staring at them, and I would still feel the same. It doesn't change. For a long, long time, I thought that I wasn't anybody's priority in anybody's life because I was the problem, and there was something so desperately, horribly wrong with me that nobody wanted me to be their first choice. I don't know what it's like to be somebody's first choice. I would love to know what it's like to be somebody's first choice. I would love to know what it's like to wake up at 12 a.m. on my birthday and have a bunch of bajillion birthday wishes. I would love to know what it's like to have a meaningful gift that actually is like, I see you and I feel you, you know? The thing about me is, I say that I'm okay alone, and I'm about to preach about how it's okay to be alone. And the second half of this episode is going to be about me preaching about how to love yourself and befriend yourself and be okay with being alone. But but I'm not going to negate the fact that it doesn't hurt. I'm not going to negate the fact that it isn't painful. I'm not going to negate and take away the fact that it fucking sucks, and it sucks. Like, it hurts so bad. And the thing is, I've been lonely for so long. When all of those horrible like instances happened to me in the past with friendships, when I got betrayed and we fell out and we broke up, blah 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 blah, I realized at some point I have to be alone. But I've been alone for so long that I now yearn for the most basic of necessities. The other day, it was my friend's birthday, and I met this girl through Instagram online, and we met up for the first time, and I bought her birthday gift because why not? You know, why not? It's the first real friend I've had in a very long time. And that might sound cringy and that might sound weird, but it's true. And I was like, oh my god, I need to get her a birthday gift. And the genuine excitement I had for buying somebody a birthday gift, are you kidding me? That wasn't a sibling or a parent. Like, it felt so good. I yearned to buy meaningful gifts. I yearned to buy you a gift and give it to you. I yearn for gossip sessions. I yearn for coffee dates. I yearn for gossiping and talking and chatting shit about men. I yearn for, tell me about your favorite book or your movie. I yearn for communication. Humans, we exist and we cannot exist alone. Every prophet that has ever existed and still exists had a wife, had children, had disciples, had people follow them. They weren't alone, even if they felt alone. Humans, we were not made to exist alone. You know, Prophet Adam alayhi salam was given a wife from his rib cage because he felt lonely. Loneliness is and it exists on its own, and it's an epidemic of its own, and it exists. It's an existence of its own. Concept of loneliness, it's a concrete thing, and it's very thick, and it's very deafening when you have it for a long period of time, but then you start to feel comfort in it. And it's what you choose to do with it when you accept the fact that you're lonely. But humans, we were not meant to be alone. Why am I gripping this so hard? But humans, we were not meant to exist alone. We were not meant to be lonely. We were not meant to be isolated for such long periods of time. We were meant to have relationships and connections and friendships and talk shit together and grow together and love together and even fight and argue. I yearn for basic human interaction. I yearn to buy that friend a gift because I haven't bought a friend a gift in a very long time, because I haven't had a friend in a very long time. I found genuine excitement in it. I'm always yearning for these things. I'm always yearning for friendship stuff, for Galentine's night out, or just even coming over just to hang out for the sake of hanging out, or even just going to town to flip and just walk around and window shop. I yearn for those things. I yearn for conversation, for good conversation, and it always doesn't always have to be meaningful or anything crazy. But I yearn for these things, and I found out recently that my resting place for a very long time has been yearning, because I have been yearning for so much. And I think humans need to accept the fact that we yearn because we are human, and that is okay. And it doesn't always necessarily have to be love and romantics and romance, and it doesn't always have to be Bridgerton core. You know what I mean? Like, you just yearn for basic human interaction and respect and love and value and seeing another person as worthy in your eyes. I don't think that should be such a bad thing and such a hard thing to find. However, I am so alone. I am so alone, and I haven't had basic conversation with somebody. I haven't been invited to a birthday party in a decade. You know what I mean? I haven't been invited to a birthday party in a decade because I haven't had friends to invite me to a birthday party. You know what I mean? I can't remember the last time. I don't have friends that will like we're at the age where people are getting married. I don't have friends that are getting married. Like, I haven't been invited to a wedding ever. The last time I was invited to a wedding, I don't even know. I can't even remember. That's how long ago it was. Like, I yearn for basic human things, and yet I am so alone. And I love the idea of being alone. I love the idea of being independent and finding comfort in my aloneness. However, feeling lonely is very heartbreaking in itself. But I also realized that I was also lonely when I was in this previous relationships. When I was in these relationships, I've always felt lonely. I've always been alone, and that is the base for understanding anything that I'm about to say about befriending yourself. In order to befriend yourself, you have to understand your base. Your soul base is you alone. Your soul, your ruh, your body, your skeleton, right? Your brain, your structure, your hands, your veins, your feet. You're not tied to anybody. No red string theory. You're not tied to anybody. You're not connected to anybody. You're not holding anybody's hand because you're scared. You're alone. That is your baseline. That is your structure. You are alone, and you have to accept that, and you have to find value in that, and you have to love that, and you have to find comfort in that, because there will be Mary, there will be many periods of time in your life where you will find yourself isolated and alone, and it is what you choose to do with it that matters the most. When I was with those friendships and I was in those friendships, I felt alone the whole time. I felt lonely the whole time. Nobody heard me, nobody understood me. And then I outgrew those friends. We broke up, we had a horrible breaking out. I was forced in a situation for 4 years where I was isolated. I didn't have university, I didn't have any socializing, I didn't have anything. I was trapped in this room for 4 years in this house, okay? For about 2 to 3 to 4 years, right? I over exaggerate, but what can I say? I'm a girl. But I was found myself in a position where I was forced to be isolated and trapped and alone with my thoughts and my feelings and just myself. And that is where I learned to befriend myself. So you found out, you figured it out. Okay, you're listening to this and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm not anybody's priority, I'm not anybody's first choice, I'm not anybody's even second choice, you know what I mean, let alone first choice. Like I'm just nobody's priority, nobody cares about me, nobody feels about me. Even in my friendships, I feel like I'm not a priority, and I they just don't choose me. Everybody I have ever loved has loved somebody more than me. You discover that and you feel like that and you have that inside of your chest, you then start to internalize it. And that's where it becomes very dangerous, because that's what happened to me. I started to internalize it. I'm also a middle child, if you can't tell, which doesn't help. That does not help my case. But I started to internalize this feeling of like, I am just this person's pet. I am just this person's side piece. I am just a side character in my own life, in my own movie, in my own book. I am the narrator, but I'm not the main character in my own book. You start to internalize these intentions, these feelings, these emotions that are portraying in your real life. And then what happens is you don't start to take care of yourself. You don't know how to live by yourself. You don't know how to be by yourself. You don't know how to befriend yourself. You are so keen on finding physical affection and physical friendships that you start to neglect yourself, and you start thinking really toxically for a long time. Actually, even now, I'm not even going to say it past tense, but I tend to find myself in a position where I always think, what can I do to make myself interesting? Okay, I could travel. Everybody travels. I can learn some languages. I can dye my hair. I can get piercings. I can gain new experiences. I can do stuff. You know what I mean? I can have many side hustles, many side hobbies. Something. I need something to make myself interesting. I need something. And I have always felt out of place because I'm remembering this time in uni where I tried to change myself so much. I tried to change myself so much in the previous uni that I went to because I wanted a new me, because I wanted to discover who I was. But I didn't know how to do that. So instead, I tried to blend into different types of groups. I remember I tried tennis. That didn't work out. I tried the fencing society. That didn't work out because people just didn't want to be friends with me. There was something so off-putting about me. It was like I had this stench, this smell, or something written on my forehead that people just did not want to be around me, and people just weren't attracted to me, and I couldn't find people wanting to be near me and wanting to continue the conversation or be friends with me, you know? And it was so strange and it was so heartbreaking. But I just accepted it one day and I was like, damn, I really am gonna be alone. And maybe for this period of my life, I'm just gonna be alone. Or maybe for the next 5 periods of my life, I'm gonna be alone. Like I said, it's what you choose to do with that loneliness. This is where I ended up befriending myself. And this is where the concept comes in. Okay, lock in, guys, because bear with me now. Bear with me. I know it sounds crazy, but this is not really the cure to cancer, so let's just relax. And it's going to be hard and different for everybody because everybody is unique and different. But what ended up happening is I ended up almost communicating to myself and talking to myself as if I was my own friend. And I started treating myself from a third person point of view. I started looking at myself from a third person perspective and thinking, if I take my soul out of my body right now, it's giving Christmas Carol, it's giving Scrooge, but put on your little nightcap and your little candle and like take yourself out of your body right now and close your eyes and look at yourself from a third point of view, and you will feel so much sympathy for her, and you will hate her so much less, and you will feel so sad for her, but you will also love so much about her. You know how you talk to your best friend when they're going through the worst time of their life, or they're talking shit about themselves and they're like, I freaking hate my fat chungus life, and I hate the way that I look, and I hate my hair, and I hate everything, and I hate my eyebrows, and I hate my nose and everything. If that was your best friend, you would sacrifice the world for them. No, you would tell them, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck. Why are you talking bad about yourself? Why are you talking so badly about yourself? Why are you hating on yourself? Who the fuck do you think you are? You're not gonna be my best friend and talk shit about yourself because we love a confident queen and you're gonna be confident and you're gonna love yourself. You know what I mean? That's what you would say to your best friend. Now, Picture yourself as your best friend. Picture yourself from a third point of view as a whole different person. You yourself is a whole different person as a third point of view. Step out of yourself and view yourself as a third person. Would you not say the same things to her? If you could meet her right now and talk to her, would you not say the same things to her? You basically need to view yourself in a third person perspective, in a third person point of view. You need to see yourself as a separate girl, as a separate identity. Because when I did that, and I didn't even realize I was doing this, but you talk to yourself, and I know it sounds crazy, but you talk to yourself, you communicate with yourself. Whether you actually physically talk to yourself, or you journal, or you write, or you like to paint, or you like to draw, or whatever it is, you like to write poetry, whatever the frick it is, right? You need to see yourself as a third person perspective. You will feel so much sympathy for her. If I take myself out of my third point of view and look at my third point of view, I would feel so bad for her. Like 2022 meetup, 2023 meetup, 2024 meetup, I'd be like, I would literally start crying right now of how bad I would feel for her, because it's like, no, don't think of yourself like that. Don't think of yourself as lonely. You're not alone. You're not alone. You have me. You know what I mean? You need to befriend yourself. You need to see yourself as a separate identity so that you can befriend yourself. You need to start to like yourself. What is it that she likes to do? Oh, Meetup likes to make videos, and she likes to film podcasts, and she likes to read books, and she likes to watch movies, and she loves K-dramas. Okay, so let's do that then. Let's do that. Or like, let's not, let's tell her not to be ashamed of herself for liking those things, you know. Let's tell her not to hate herself for the way that she looks. If my best friend, my best friend that I would die for, okay, and I don't die for much, it wouldn't take me to die for much, but if my best friend that I would die for looked in the mirror in front of me and was like, I freaking hate my fat chungus nose, I would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're beautiful. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking beautiful? One of my friends has dimples, and she also has these beautiful Bambi eyes. And I told her, and I was like, what the frick is wrong with you? She was like, I hate my eyes. They're so small. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? She literally looks like a Bambi. She literally, quite literally, looks like the Bambi, like the Bambi with the pink and the pink bows, that energy, that aesthetic. She literally looks like that. She literally looks like that. She has the voice too. If she was me and I was her, like, okay, what am I saying? If When she said that to me, I was like, what the frick? Why would you say that? Are you kidding me? You're freaking beautiful. You're freaking gorgeous. You're like ethereal. Are you kidding me right now? That's the same energy you need to give to yourself. That's the same energy I gave to myself. I befriended myself. Oh, you want to go out and do this, but you don't have a friend? I'm your friend. Let's go out and go on these dates together. That becomes solo dates. That becomes going to the movies by yourself. The other day, I watched Hamnet by myself. Not the other day, was it yesterday? I think yesterday I watched Hamnet by myself. I cannot even talk about the masterpiece of the movie that it is. I didn't know Shakespeare moved like that. First of all, I didn't know Shakespeare moved like that. I didn't know that's how deep Shakespeare was, and that's what English teachers were crying about. If English teachers could show actual good plays and movies of Shakespeare's depictions, I think everybody would pass English. I don't think it should be so exam based. Hamnet was so freaking incredible. That Jessica Julie actress, I can't remember her name, and Jacoby Jupe, I think his name, the little kid's name, is phenomenal. Paul Mescal was mid. Those two, incredible, incredible actress and actor. I honestly hope that they win every award in the book, because that movie was insane. But I would have, anyways, we're getting off topic. The old me would have waited and waited and waited for somebody to hang out with, and this need to find somebody to go on these dates with, this need to have somebody else to constantly go out and do stuff with. No, do it alone. Befriend yourself. Do it alone. Do it alone. Do it alone. You are always going to be by yourself at the end of the day. Learn to live by yourself. A war could outbreak, a virus could outbreak, you could end up alone. Would you survive? No, because you're codependent on other people. Why are you so codependent on other people? Why? I have always been somebody who's loved being alone. I've always loved being isolated. I've always loved doing stuff alone, and I don't think I was confident in myself enough to acknowledge that for the longest of time when I was younger. Even hanging out with my sisters, even hanging out with my parents, even hanging out with my friends, I always felt with my friends, with my old friendships, with hanging out with my siblings and hanging out with my parents, I always felt like they wanted me there. I never wanted to be there. They needed me, so I was there. Never I wanted them and I needed them, so I was there. It was always they wanted me, they needed me. I was their comfort. I was their um emotional support dog. I helped them through it. I talked them through it. I comforted them. I helped them with their anxiety. I did that for them. I never felt the same way they could give me the same energy. They could do that for me. They could do what I do for them. I just wouldn't feel it. I just wouldn't feel it. I've always been somebody who's very, I don't know if independent is the word, because independent has a connotation to it that means that you could accomplish freaking world hunger by itself and flipping write a whole exam by itself. And I gotta say, I love me some ChatGPT. I'm sorry, sue me. But I've always been somebody who's been okay with being alone and who has always felt the most comfortable and confident when I am alone. Hence why I love recording when I'm alone. Hence why I just kicked out my little brother for another hour so I could record alone, because I do not feel confident and comfortable around other people, even if they are blood related to me, even if they birthed me, even if we've seen each other naked. I won't feel comfortable around you. I just can't. I've always felt this feeling of like, why does this other person that I'm in a relationship with, it, whatever the relationship is, why do I feel so disconnected to them? Why do I feel so like, oh, they're saying that they feel so comfortable around me and they want me to sleep with them and they want me to hang out with them and they want me to do all this stuff with them. But if they genuinely did it without me and they did it by themselves or with another person, I wouldn't care. No F's given. I would not care. Like, and does that make me a bad person? Does that make me a horrible person? Like, the guilt I felt and I feel when I go through this little bit of psychosis where it's like, oh, but they need me and they want to be friends with me. They need me for emotional support. They want me there. They need me there. But why do I feel so reluctant? And why do I hate them for it? And why do I resent them for it? And why do I not want to be there? I don't care. I don't care if you went without me. That amount of times before I outgrew one of my friends, I would tell her, like, hey, like, if you want to go do that by yourself, go do that by yourself. I find that every connection I make with humans, I always meet this type of human where they're so clingy towards me. I don't like clingy people. I don't like clingy people. Get away from me. Be your own person, please. Please be your own person. Please learn to live by yourself before you start to make friendships or want to make friendships. Please. I know this life is lonely, and I know that is horrible, and I know that is horrendous, and I know that is hurtful, and I know that is painful, and I know that maybe holding a hand and having a hug every now and then wouldn't be so bad. But please learn to be by yourself. Please learn to comfort yourself. Please. Because I don't like people who are so codependent. I don't like people who are so clingy. I can't be clingy. I've tried. I've tried being clingy. I've tried pretending to be clingy. I've tried pretending like I care. I just don't. And I know that's horrible. I know that's horrible, but every time I meet the same type of person, every friendship I've ever had, I've met the same type of person where they're so clingy and they're so just oof, like they just want to cling so bad and they want to be together so bad and they just become codependent. And it's like, I don't want that. I don't need that. Get away from me. Learn how to live by yourself. Learn how to be by yourself, and then come back to me. Like, if you cannot be okay with being by yourself, and if you get offended that the other person has done something by themselves, you need to grow up. And I'm sorry, but you do, because I can't be around people who don't know how to be like that. But anyways, we're going off topic, I think. Yeah, my whole life I've almost always felt like that. That I'm this person's friend, but are they my friend? Or like, I this person needs me, they feel comfortable around me, they feel like they can vent to me and talk to me, and they feel like they need me, but I don't feel that same way towards them. And because I felt like that my whole life, I thought that was normal. I thought that's what relationships were. I thought that's what friendships were. Then I had friends that made me feel like that. I would just they would just drag me along to wherever they wanted to go. Or I want to go here, come with me. I want to do this, let's go do this. I want to do that, okay, let's go do that. Now we're reading, now we're doing this, now we're sitting here, now we're doing this because they want to do it. I was so like my not my own person that I just literally blended in and became like this wave, like this watery, wobbly wave of just thing that like people would just drag with them and take with them wherever they wanted to go, because I wasn't my own person and I didn't know what I wanted, and I hated myself so much, and I thought that I wasn't worthy of finding out who I wanted to be, and I thought that I wasn't worthy of discovering myself and being my own person, because I thought to be your own person and to be your own identity, to have your own identity, you need to be interesting and you need to have so many things to your name and you need to do so much stuff. You need to have this, and this, and this, and this. No. To be your own person and to be your own identity could literally be as simple as Hey, I like the color blue. Why not decorate my whole room blue? Or why not go and find blue stuff outside? Or why not paint my room blue? Or why not buy a blue phone case? Or it could be as simple as I love watching K dramas. That's my favorite downtime hobby. That's what I love to do. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't have to be the extreme of the extreme of the extreme. You're not boring. You just haven't found your identity yet. You're not boring. You just haven't found who you are yet. I don't think we should denote yourself to being a boring person if you haven't discovered who you are yet. And that's advice for me too. That's where it comes in to learning how to befriend yourself. View yourself as a third person, view yourself from a third point of view, and see yourself as if that girl was my best friend right now. Right? You take yourself out, you see yourself from a third point of view. If that girl was my best friend, I would take a bullet for her right now. Would I say all the shit that I say to her now? Would I make her feel all the things that I make myself feel now? No. Befriend yourself. Go on solo dates. Go out to eat. Stop waiting on people. Read the book that you've always wanted to read. Wear the clothes that you've always wanted to wear. Do the makeup that you've always wanted to do. Get the poster. Get the tattoo. Get the piercing. Like, do the shit that you've wanted to do. Befriend yourself. Talk to yourself. I don't care if you look crazy. I don't care if that's a sign of psychosis. Okay? Talk to yourself. I would send voice notes to myself. I would put on voice recording, the voice recorder app, and literally go on walks and just talk to myself, whatever I wanted to talk about. Because at some point, you want to vent, you want to talk, you want to communicate. And if that may be through journaling, not my thing. I've tried journaling, it's just so difficult for me. It's just so boring. I can't write as quick as I talk. So if I think of a thought that I need to say and I need to write it down, it's just too slow for me. My hand moves too slow. I'd rather just speak it to someone and say it to someone. Why not say it to myself? You know what I mean? I don't care if that sounds crazy. Befriend yourself. Be your own best friend. View yourself from a third person perspective. Take yourself out of your own shoes. Look at that girl or boy. Please, if you're a boy, why are you here? I'm joking. Don't get offended, don't cry. Look at that person. Look at that human being. They're just a human being. They're just a human being. They're just struggling and they need sympathy. And all they keep doing is hating on themselves and looking down on themselves and being so critical of themselves. So look at them and be like, damn, she needs a hug right now, or she needs comfort right now, or she needs to be happy right now. Let's go out and do something. Let's go out and go shopping. Let's go out and buy makeup. Let's go out and do our makeup and dress up and go to a cute dinner. Like, when I first went, that stutter went crazy. When I first went out for the first time by myself, I'm used to going out to places by myself, but going out to eat was so intimidating to me until I went, and it was this pho restaurant that I love, and I went for the first time, and I realized nobody gives a fuck. Nobody actually gives a flying shit if you're there by yourself because everybody's there to freaking eat, right? And so I went there and I ate and I watched my show and it was perfectly fine. It was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it. There was nothing wrong with being by yourself. If you become a last priority to yourself, no, if you become the last priority to everybody else around you, become the first priority to yourself. Put yourself first, befriend yourself. See yourself as a third person perspective. See yourself as your own person, as your own identity with your own beating heart. Because what happens is when you become last priority to everybody else, like I said, you internalize that. You don't see yourself as a human being anymore. You see yourself as this leftover thing, exactly the way that people treat you. That's how you see yourself. You are your own person with a beating heart, with emotions, with wants, with desires, with yearning, with passions and things that you haven't discovered yet. You are your own human being that has yet to grow. Just like you watch your friends grow and you help them grow and you tell them, oh, it's going to be okay and shit like that. That's exactly what you need to do to yourself. I think it is such an important life skill to be able to learn how to, you don't even have to love yourself. Heck, I don't love myself, but to learn to befriend yourself and to learn to find comfort in being by yourself and being truly okay with who you are as a person, with your flaws, with the ugliness, with your crooked nose and your big ass teeth and your wonky eyebrows and your messed up haircut and your big ass arms and whatever. You know what I mean? Learn to befriend yourself, learn to accept yourself for who you are, because if you cannot accept yourself for who you are, how the hell are you going to accept other people? How the hell are you going to accept the love of your life? How the hell are you going to accept your children? And don't get me wrong, I understand that feeling of where you're probably sitting there and being like, oh, but I love other people and I would die for other people and I can love somebody so much, but I will never love myself. I get that. I understand that because I am too that person. Because don't get me wrong, I would take a bullet in the street for a random stranger. I would take a bullet in the street for a bird, for a dog, for a cat, for a freaking ant. I don't care. I don't care. I view my life as so unworthy, so like throwawayable because I don't care. I would take a bullet for myself. For myself, I would take a bullet for a stranger in a heartbeat because I don't care. I view that person's life so much more than mine. I honestly don't care about my life that much. Um, but would other people do that for me? Would the people in my life who are there, who don't view me as a first priority, would they do that for me? You know what I mean? I would take a bullet for a stranger. I would take a bullet for my dad. I would take a bullet for anybody. You know what I mean? I don't care if I love you, I hate you, or die for you, or don't even know you. I would take a bullet. I would die. Sacrifice me. I don't care. You know what I mean? Zombie apocalypse. Let's go. It's like, it's okay. Um, but at some point, it starts to hurt when you realize that nobody's coming to save you and nobody's going to pick you up. And sometimes there are going to be moments in your life where you're going to have to be alone and you're going to have to learn how to kind of like yourself and sit with yourself. And because you know what I learned is that I think there was an extrovert that came on TikTok and she was like, I'm an extrovert. I cannot imagine being by myself. Like I just cannot find the joy in being by myself. I have to be around people. That's where I get my energy surge from. Like that's where I get this energy. That's where I become extroverted. That's where I thrive. And to me that's so interesting because I feel like it's so weird because what do you mean you can't just come home and like sit in your room and get cozy and isolate yourself all day and be alone by yourself? Being alone is the best thing that you can do for yourself to grow. In those 3 years where I was alone, I am not the same person as I was in 2022. Let me tell you that. Heck, I'm not even the same person as I was in the beginning of 2025. What are we in 2026, right? Yeah, I'm not the same person I was in the beginning of 2025. January 25 is not the same person as January 26. That's not the same person at all. I grew because you start to learn things about yourself. I didn't freaking know I liked the color blue. I didn't freaking know I wanted so many piercings. I didn't freaking know I like to make videos and I like to film podcasts and want to take it seriously. I didn't freaking know that shit. I didn't know that I liked Miffy. I didn't know that I liked K-dramas and I find joy in cinematography and poetry. I didn't know I liked poetry for the longest time. I didn't know that I liked it, but when I found it because I was alone and I happened to come across it, I found joy in it. I find it beautiful. I find it poetic. You know what I mean? Well, I find poetry poetic, really. No way. I didn't know that I loved K dramas. I didn't know that I loved this genre of music. I didn't know that this is who I was and this is what I like to do and that this is the type of like you need to learn about yourself before you want and yearn for other people to know about you so much and to see you. How are you gonna want how are you gonna sit there and want somebody to see you for who you are when you cannot even see you for who you are? Does that make sense? Let me say that again one more time. How are you gonna sit there and want somebody to see you for who you are when you don't even know who you are? When you don't even see yourself for who you are? You know nothing about yourself, or you haven't even unlocked like 50% of your full potential of who you are and your identity. And don't get me wrong, identity is not concrete. We are not concrete and we are not fixed to a perfect box. We don't fit into a perfect box. Heck, I thought university was a perfect box for me. Then I dropped out and then I refused to ever fit in that box again. And then I stepped inside that box again. You know what I mean? We are constantly in a state of flowing. We are constantly in a state of changing. We are constantly in a state of moving. We're liquid. You know what I mean? We're not concrete. Even if we look concrete physically, we're not. And I don't think that we should expect so much from other human beings when you cannot even know yourself fully. If you do not know who you are when you are alone, how can you expect somebody else to know you well enough to want to be with you when you're alone? You know, you know what I mean? Like breaking free from the toxic cycle of allowing yourself to be the second priority, to be the no priority, the low priority, to be the nobody of the friend group, to be the friend of the friend, and to have somebody else who's more important than you in every friendship or relationship you've ever had. To allow yourself that toxicity in that cycle, you're only ever hurting yourself and you're only ever betraying yourself So freaking get up. And even if that means you have to break off friendships, or you have to take a break from a relationship, or you have to take space and isolate yourself, find out who you are, discover who you are. As cringy as this shit sounds, very 2016 of me, but be okay with being alone, and be okay with sitting by yourself at a table in a restaurant. Be okay with sitting by yourself in a cinema. Frick, I watched Zootopia 2 by myself and I was perfectly fine. I went to the photo booth and I took pictures perfectly fine. It becomes an addiction. When you unlock that ability and that habit to be by yourself, it is literally an addiction and you do not need anybody else. Now, need and want are two different things. You can want it, but not need it. You know what I mean? But you could still want it. We all want love, and we all want relationships, and we all want that icky gooey stuff. But I think it is really important to learn how to be yourself. I think it is a really good life skill, and I just think that more people should do it. And I learned how to do it by befriending myself and seeing myself from a third person perspective, and seeing myself as a separate identity, and then seeing and feeling sorry for her and about I'm feeling sorry for her at how harsh I was to her. I was so harsh to her. Frick me, I hated her weight, and I hated the way her nose looked, and I hated her freaking teeth, and I hated the fact that her side profile was so freaking ugly, and I hated her hair, and I hated the way that how much she like how fat her arms were, and how she was just so ugly inside and out. And I hated the fact that she was lazy, and I hated the fact that she couldn't do anything unless it was last minute, and I hated the fact that she had this music taste but wouldn't explore it, or I hate the fact that she wouldn't do this by herself, and she was so annoying. And then I saw myself from a third person perspective, and I was like, holy shit, I was so mean to her. Mean to her for what? Mean to her for what? She's been there through every transition of my life. She's been there through every period of my life. I start crying. She's been there through everything and then she was there when I was 12 and I was crying on the bathroom floor. She was there when I was 15 and I was first discovering makeup. She was there when I was 18 and I wanted to dye my hair red for the first time. She was there when I was sitting in the exam hall not knowing what the frick to do. She was there when I bought bubble tea for myself to comfort myself. She was there in every friendship and relationship and every emotional connection I've ever had with any human being. She was there. She was there. She was there. Nobody else was there. You know what I mean? Even if they were there emotionally and internally, she was there. And I know that sounds crazy, but you have to really log into what I'm trying to say and you have to deep it, guys. I know I sound insane, but genuinely, 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 like, I used to be so mean to her, and she was there through the toughest of toughest times. You were there for yourself for the most heartbreaking moments of your life, and you're gonna sit there and not even bother to know her, and not even bother to get to know her and befriend her and like her and work your relationship out with her. Like, the audacity. You know what I mean? You know, the audacity. She's there when you break up with that one boy at 19, that evil, horrible boy at 19. She's gonna be there when you get married. She's gonna be there when you leave your home for the first time. She's gonna be there when you try something new, try a different sport, try a new hair color. She's gonna be there. Befriend yourself. See her as one of your closest friends who has literally been there since the day that you were born, because nobody else is gonna know you better than you do. Nobody else is gonna know how you feel. Nobody else is gonna know how you felt at every moment of every second of your life, through every experience that you've ever had and will go through. And like, she will. She literally will, because she is there. So yeah, in the new year, if you're looking to change one thing about yourself, I would say definitely befriend yourself. New year, new you. Befriend yourself, man. Give yourself some credit. Like, you're only human. And I'm not saying that it's not going to be lonely and it's not going to be heartbreaking and it's not going to be difficult. Frankly, me, it took me like 3 years to learn how to do this. And I was doing it all along and I just didn't realize it. And I guess because I'm an introvert, it's a bit easier for me. But extrovert, introvert in the middle, ITP, ISP, EFNJ, whatever you are, bro, just learn to befriend yourself, because you're the only person who's ever going to be there in the middle of the night when you're crying, or you're awake lying in your bed getting ready to go to bed and you come into consciousness. Who's there? You. Who else needs to be there? Nobody else. Nobody else needs to be there. Literally, you were there for yourself, so why not take credit and befriend yourself, and to just learn to be okay by yourself? Because don't get me wrong, it's not the answer to all your problems, and it's not going to be one solution. It's not a concrete whole solution. It's not the cure, you know what I mean, to loneliness, to the loneliness epidemic. um because I still, like I've said before, yearn for human connection all the time, and I hate that I have to denote myself to I hate that every friendship I've ever had, I've had to denote myself to this one box of nonchalantness, of go with the flow, the go with the flow friend, and the nonchalant friend, and the do what you want friend. And oh, I don't mind that you said that, and no, I don't take any offense, and no, I don't mind if you cancel, and I don't mind if you did that. I do care, I do mind, I do want to hang out, I want to gossip, and I want to talk, and I want to have friends, and I want to have people to go get bubble tea after Tarawih with. Like, I want to go have, human connect. I yearn for human connection because I haven't had it in so long, and I guess my way of human connection is recording these videos and making this content. But I'm not saying that learning to befriend yourself is going to cure everything. I'm saying that it's going to make you feel better, and it is going to help, and it's one step closer to loving yourself. You do not have to love yourself straight away. In fact, you can live a perfectly fine life never loving yourself. I don't think I will ever love myself fully. I don't think humans ever fully love themselves. I really don't think so. I really don't think so. I think we are such critical human beings, and we are such harsh human beings. Look at the way that we treat the world. Look at the way that we treat other people. Look at history, you know what I mean? And look at the present. You know what I mean? We're such naturally, instinctively horrible human beings and really cruel creatures. I don't think we will ever 100% love ourselves and love us for who we are. Mostly because we're always changing. And secondly, we're always making mistakes. We're always sinning. We're always growing. And thirdly, I think that's just naturally who we are. People who just people will never 100% love anything, because I think humans, here I go, I think humans, we could have been such amazing, incredible, heartwarming, graceful creatures. We could have been such loving things. Like, we could have chosen, as cringy as it sounds, we could have chosen positivity and love every single time. And yet there are people out there who choose to be cruel. There are people with power and money and responsibility who choose to be cruel. We kill people, we kill wildlife, we hurt animals' homes, we hurt other people's homes, we make other people pay to live in homes, we make people pay for food, for water. We take away so much of worthiness from other people, and we give it to ourselves. I think humans have instinctiveness of greed and cruelty inside of us, which is why I do not think that we could 100% love ourselves, because we are such critical beings. And I don't think any other being on this planet that God has created is so critical of themselves. But yeah, I do believe we can 100% love other people. I do believe that. I do not believe that we could 100% love ourselves. And I do think that you could have a good, healthy, long lasting relationship not loving yourself and loving somebody else. But I think I draw the line at not liking yourself and not being comfortable with yourself. You have to be comfortable with yourself, and you have to acceptance and comfortableness. I think those two are very vital. Loving, I think it takes time. I think there are 50-year-olds out there who don't love themselves. I just think loving kind of translates to into, oh, I'm a grown adult now, I don't really care. I don't really care. I don't really care about my appearance. I don't really care anymore. Am I gonna get up the next day and go to the gym if I'm fat? If I'm crying about being fat and ugly right now, am I literally gonna go and lock in for the next 30 days and go to the gym? Probably not, because I'm a lazy bitch. So is there any point in me crying and caring about it? No. Is that a form of loving yourself though? I don't know, it's debatable. But anyways, um, that is the first episode of 2026. I hope everything I said makes sense. Like I always say at the end of every episode, please subscribe, blah 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 blah, all the cringy shit. Yeah, I do hope everything makes sense. I hope this freaking camera is still recording and you can still hear me. As you can see, my voice is going. I'm literally dying. But yeah, this is the first episode of 2026. I will see you guys tomorrow, because I'm gonna try and upload for the next 5 days consistently, or the next week, every podcast episode. Let me know your thoughts. I love it when you guys comment. Nobody ever comments under my videos. I freaking hate it. Like, comment, say something, please. Um, and subscribe. Why haven't you subscribed? We could be locked in tight like a booty hole forever, but you don't want to subscribe. Like, what the frick is that about? Um, But yeah, I hope you guys loved the new set. I hope you guys had a good new year. Happy New Year. I hope this episode makes sense. If I left anything else out, I will probably put it in another episode. Um, oh yeah, and we have a new intro too. We have a new podcast intro. Yeah, because we're professional like that. Let me know your guys' thoughts, and if there's any other topics that you guys want me to talk about. I could talk about friendships. I could talk about outgrowing friendships. I could talk about my university experience. I could talk about so much. I could also get into religion as well. Um, but yeah, I feel like I went off on a tangent. It's kind of difficult when I don't make notes, but then I feel like when I make notes on my iPad, I look at the notes and I'm like, why did I write that down and what do I say to that? It feels very scripted. I don't like it when things are scripted, but I do need prompts because I struggle. But this was without a prompt. But yeah, I'm scared to look at the timestamp of how long this video is and it's gonna take me to edit tonight. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow in the next episode. Because we're trying to be consistent queens over here. But yeah, happy new year, bye.